Hey there everybody, friendly neighborhood webhead here, wishing you a happy new year. So, 2017 is finally here, and with it a new year full of unlimited possibilities, a year full, of good things to happen, for good times ahead. And well, overall, in this new year, I hope that all of you can be able to accomplish your goals, that you can be able to strive for your dreams, that you can be able to have good health and good times with your friends and family, and that you can be able to enjoy what is to come. So then, with it being 2017, this would be obviously my first video of the year, and so I'm going to make it a video game review, specifically of Final Fantasy 15. So then, let's get this show on the road. Now then, it's no secret that Final Fantasy 15 was a very hyped up game. It was a game that many, if not all, Final Fantasy fans were looking forward to. And well, 15 was previously known as Final Fantasy Versus 13 when it was under Nomura's leadership, but when Hajime Tabata came to take the helm of the project, it became Final Fantasy 15. And well, 10 years have passed since it was originally announced as Versus 13 back in 2006, and the end product was Final Fantasy 15, which came out on November 29th of last year. Now then, I'm going to provide my pros and cons about the game, and, well, just my general overall thoughts on the game itself. When it comes to pros, let's look at the gameplay aspect of Final Fantasy 15. The gameplay is absolutely superb. Hajime Tabata and Business Division 2 have really outdone themselves with Final Fantasy 15's combat. It's fast, responsive, fluid, and precise, and switching between weapons on the fly mid-combo feels so satisfying. Magic is also a pretty unique aspect in this game, as you can actually create the spells, and you actually have to have a bit of strategic maneuvering in when and how you cast your spells, because if not, you could end up inflicting friendly fire upon your party. And I like that. And I also like the effects that the spells leave on the battlefield, such as fire leaving ashes, blizzard leaving a snowy environment, thunder making the ground crackle with electricity. That attention to detail was pretty darn badass. The freedom of movement during combat is also pretty darn awesome. Being able to warp point to a safe spot to restore MP is pretty strategic, and being able to perform techniques with party members to turn the tide of battle always feels satisfying. And overall, the combat is really darn good. I did not find myself getting tired of the combat at all. It was always hectic, it was always fast, and it was always entertaining to watch all the chaos ensue on screen. And I definitely have to give props, to Hajime Tabata and Business Division 2 for crafting a very entertaining combat system that, definitely holds its footing. And it's very similar to Kingdom Hearts. For those who've played the Kingdom Hearts games before, you'll find a bit of similarities in terms of the combat and how you move around. It's really, I liked it. It was really awesome. In terms of the exploration part of gameplay, it was vastly entertaining. Being able to explore the world of Eos, be it running around, riding a chocobo, or just going in the regalia, always felt satisfying. You could be able to explore the world at your leisure when not doing story missions, of course. And also, the side quests were very entertaining. I didn't find myself disliking any of the side quests because they were actually pretty good. And they provided a little bit more of diversity when it came to coming from point A to point B and during the story. So that was a very good decision that Tabata made to deliver, side quests peppered in throughout the story. And monster hunts were also very entertaining because you actually had to go and hunt down the monsters in their specific locations. And, the satisfaction of beating a monster up and just claiming the kill, it always felt pretty darn badass. And overall, exploration in this game was pretty awesome. I really liked exploring the dungeons as well because, in classic Final Fantasy fare, you explore dungeons, you battle monsters along the way in said dungeons, you find a lot of items, and overall, exploration was really well done in this game. And I liked that, Tabata and Business Division 2 took their time to layer out the world. I also really loved how each of the 4 characters had a unique skill that was exclusive to each of them. Noctis was fishing, Gladiolus was survivalist, Ignis was cooking, and Prompto was photography. And I really loved how each of these characters could be able to level up their skills in their respective fields. With Noctis, you would just fish in any of the fishing spots available in the game. With Gladiolus, simply by walking around the environment, he'd level up because he'd be picking up items that would be useful to the party. For Ignis, every time that the party would camp, whenever you cook new dishes, it makes his level go up with that skill. With Prompto, I love that, he takes photos, out of the blue, of any moment during the game, be it when you're exploring a place, or when you're battling, or even when it comes to cutscenes. And I really loved how each skill could level up over time. I think my absolute two favorites would have to be Ignis's cooking and Prompto's photography. Those are the two most entertaining skills, in my opinion. But yeah, in terms of gameplay, Final Fantasy 15 definitely delivers. And it's gameplay that'll get you really addicted, so trust me, you'll love it. Another pro that I'd have to give would be for the musical score. My god, the music in this game is simply monumental. Yoko Shimomura, the composer of the Kingdom Hearts series, composed the music for Final Fantasy 15, and I have to say, she delivered in such an amazing and fantastic way. Each track, delivered a powerful and riveting stream of emotions, be it in the heat of battle, be it in sad moments and cutscenes, be it in any given moment of the game. The musical score was always something that kept me hooked, and it really, it just psyched me up to play the game even more. Miss Shimomura, you are a goddess, and you are an amazing composer. And really, the musical score is what you would expect out of a Final Fantasy. And, hearing the soundtrack, comparing it to Nobuo Uematsu's work, Nobuo Uematsu is an amazing composer as well, but Yoko Shimomura really did an outstanding job on this numbered Final Fantasy title. And so I have to say that the music was definitely tops. Another pro would be the story, although it's also a con, but I'll get to that in a moment. But overall, the story is pretty good and pretty entertaining. For the sake of not spoiling anything, I'll just divulge the bare minimum details, so you can get more or less the gist of what the game is about. The game centers around Noctis Lucius Caelum. He's the Prince of Insomnia of the Kingdom of Lucius, and he's set to go to Altissia to marry Lady Lunafreya of Tenebrae in order to form a peace treaty between the Kingdom of Lucius and the Empire of Niflheim. And then King Regis, Noctis' father, sends Gladiolus, Ignis, and Prompto along with Noctis to escort him on his journey. That's the basic gist of the story. And, well, how it was delivered, I thought that it was pretty well done. The voice acting was superb. I was able, to be invested in the characters, and none of the voices sounded weird. They all sounded on par with how I thought they'd sound like. And the cinematography of the cutscenes was definitely something gorgeous. And the graphics, out of this world. Just what you'd expect from a Final Fantasy game. And the game clocked around, well, at least for me, the game clocked around 30 hours. It took me 30 hours to beat the game. But granted, that was because I did a few side quests and a little bit of exploring. But I've heard that some people beat it in 20 hours, so that would be kind of more or less the runtime for the game in general. But yes, going back to the story was very good, and it centers around the theme of brotherhood, with the four protagonists. And I thought that theme was well delivered, and it was, it was conveyed emotionally, it was conveyed in all the right, in all the right places. But yes, the story was definitely pretty good.